Did you know that Dave Kunst was the first man to walk around the world? Although during his journey, Dave used airplanes to cross oceans, still, over the course of his global circumnavigation, he walked a total distance of nearly 27,000 kilometers, even if it was done in segments. But today, we are not talking about Dave Kunst. We are talking about a man who may have gone even further than him. This man set out to cross the longest continuous route on Earth, on foot and only on foot. Yes, where ordinary thinking ends, the journey of Karl Bushby begins. Not 5,000 kilometers, not 10,000, not even 25,000. Karl Bushby has already walked more than 47,000 kilometers entirely on his own feet. And the most unbelievable part, his journey is still not over. 25 countries, 6 deserts, 7 mountain ranges, and 27 years of relentless effort, all for one single goal, to walk around the entire world without any support. But how? Karl Bushby is a former British paratrooper from England who decided to attempt one of the most dangerous human journeys ever imagined. On November 1st, 1998, with just $500 in his pocket, Karl began his journey from Punta Arenas, a city at the southern tip of Chile. He named his mission the Goliath Expedition. The plan was simple in theory: walk across the entire American continent, enter Russia, cross Asia, and finally return home to England on foot. The total distance would be nearly 58,000 kilometers. Karl estimated that if he walked just 19 kilometers a day, the journey would take about 8 years. What he did not know was that this 8-year journey would still be unfinished even after 27 years. Karl set 2 strict rules for himself. First, no vehicles of any kind. No cars, no trains, no planes, no boats. Every single step must be taken on foot. Second, if the journey was interrupted for any reason, he must resume from the exact spot where he stopped. These rules may sound simple, but Karl paid for them with years of isolation, visa struggles, and constant risk of death. Karl's first steps were taken across the rough landscapes of South America. Harsh climates, wild terrain, and unpredictable challenges awaited him at every turn. He followed the Pacific coast and the edges of the Andes Mountains, intentionally avoiding the most dangerous parts of the Amazon rainforest. Even so, nature showed no mercy. In Patagonia, he faced freezing winds strong enough to knock him off balance. In the Andes, endless climbs and descents pushed his body to the brink. In northern Chile, he crossed the Atacama Desert, one of the driest places on Earth, where water scarcity and extreme heat became life-threatening. To survive, Karl pulled a small 2-wheeled cart containing food, clothing, and supplies. He later said that while crossing the Atacama, he only stopped walking when he found water. Crossing South America was a major milestone, but the real danger awaited him ahead: the Darien Gap. A 320-kilometer stretch of dense jungle between Colombia and Panama. A place known for deadly wildlife, poisonous snakes, violent criminal groups, and almost no infrastructure. Karl was arrested by Panamanian authorities and imprisoned for 18 days. But once released, he returned to the exact spot where he had stopped and continued walking, because rules are rules. By the year 2000, Karl had crossed Central America. Each border brought new visa delays and bureaucratic nightmares. In the United States, he walked alongside highways, crossed the scorching Sonoran Desert, and endured temperatures even hotter than the Atacama. By 2005, Karl reached Canada and Alaska, where everything changed again. Snow, ice, blizzards, extreme cold. In the remote Alaskan wilderness, there were no roads. Karl followed dog sled trails, but without using dogs, because accepting help would violate his rules. And then came the most dangerous challenge of the entire expedition:
the Bering Strait, a frozen sea connecting Alaska and Russia. The ice here never stays still. Massive ice slabs constantly drift, collide, and separate, revealing freezing open water beneath. Karl repeatedly had to swim between ice sheets, risking hypothermia and death. He crossed the Bering Strait alongside French adventurer Dmitry Kiefer, walking and swimming over 240 kilometers of Arctic chaos. After 14 days without proper sleep, Karl finally reached Russia, only to be arrested. Despite having a valid visa, Russian authorities argued that the Bering Strait was not an official port of entry. Karl was deported back to the United Kingdom. His journey could have ended there, but it didn't. British Deputy Prime Minister John Prescott and Russian billionaire Roman Abramovich intervened. Karl was allowed to return to Russia, but with severe restrictions. His visas lasted only 90 days, forcing him to repeatedly leave and re-enter the country. By 2008, his funding ran out. Karl waited in Mexico for 2 years. In 2011, funding returned, and so did Karl. He continued walking through Siberia's frozen tundra, where one mistake could mean death. 3 months of walking each year, 9 months of waiting for visas. In 2013, Russia banned him for 5 years. Instead of giving up, Karl protested by walking 4,800 kilometers from Los Angeles to Washington, D.C., ending outside the Russian embassy. The world noticed. In 2014, the ban was lifted. Karl returned to his exact GPS point in Siberia and continued walking. He crossed Mongolia's Gobi Desert, then China, then Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, and Turkmenistan, but Iran denied him a visa. During the pandemic, Karl's journey stalled again. In 2022, he made a life-threatening decision. If he could not walk through Iran, he would swim. Karl crossed 288 kilometers of the Caspian Sea, swimming for 6 hours a day for 31 days. At night, he slept on a small kayak carrying his supplies. Against waves, exhaustion, and fear, he survived. By 2025, Karl entered Turkey, where he received overwhelming hospitality from locals. In Istanbul, authorities granted him rare permission to walk across the Bosphorus Bridge, officially entering Europe on foot. Karl reflected. When I left England, Tony Blair was Prime Minister. Now Britain has had 5 new Prime Ministers. When I return, the country itself may feel new. After 27 years, Karl only has 3,000 kilometers left. His final path will take him through Bulgaria, Romania, Hungary, Austria, Germany, France, and finally home to the United Kingdom. The final obstacle remains the English Channel. Walking through the Channel Tunnel is forbidden, but a service tunnel exists. Special permission is required. If approved, Karl Bushby is expected to complete the Goliath Expedition in 2026, having walked 58,000 kilometers, 1.5 times the circumference of the Earth. Karl's journey proves one powerful truth. Humans create their own limits, but in reality, there are none. So the next time life feels stuck, remember this: Karl Bushby is still walking. The world may be vast, but determination can make it feel small. As Karl once said, life doesn't stop, it only changes direction.